Hey guys, welcome to part three of our series on mentorship. My name is Billy, and I'm excited today to continue talking about Moses and Joshua and their relationship. And really, what we're learning is this makes sense, of course, is that we've got Moses, we've got Joshua, and we've got God. And it's like this triangle kind of relationship. And Moses, what we're going to talk about today, was not possessive of his relationship with God. He did not guard it. He did not guard his position either. And it's so key and so powerful for a mentor, for a leader, and a mentee who's learning to lead in such a way and to live life in such a way where our faith and our trust in God is not only the number one thing, it's everything. So instead of doing like what the Pharisees did during Jesus' day, which is to say, wow, something new has come into our midst. Instead of being able to recognize he's the Messiah, the very first response, and it was their only response for the most part, for most of them, was we've got to protect our position. We've got to protect our power. We've got to protect our access, all these different things. And Moses absolutely could have had the same attitude, right? He did not only not have that attitude, he had the very opposite of that attitude. We look in Exodus chapter 33, and if you read verses 8 through 11, chapter 33, 8 through 11, powerful verses. Read these every day. Powerful verses. It's such a powerful picture to read that when Moses went out to the tent of meeting, where like the temple of the time, but it was the kind of fold up, take it anywhere temple, tent of meeting. All the people, we're talking about millions of people. All the people would get up and stand in the entrance of their own tents, and they would watch until he disappeared inside. Out of respect. It's just like out of awe for God, and I think for Moses too. As he went, so Moses had a high position. Moses was the man. As he went into the tent, the pillar of cloud, like a visible pillar of cloud, would come down and hover at its entrance while the Lord spoke with Moses. When the people saw the cloud standing at the entrance of the tent, they would stand and bow down in front of their tents. This reminds me of Revelations 4, where it says the 24 elders continually take off their crowns, get on their knees and bow down before God, and put the crowns back on and take them off and bow down. But they just bowed down. You can talk about like 1 million people, 1.5 million people, all in front of their tents, bowing down as Moses goes and meets with God. Talk about a potential ego trip. Talk about pride, right? That could happen, but it doesn't happen with Moses. It says, inside the tent of meeting, the Lord spoke to Moses face to face as one speaks to a friend. I don't know. I don't know if this is blowing your mind or you're just saying, what's the big deal, Billy? But I'm telling you, it's blowing my mind. I want to speak to God face to face, and I want to see his face as a friend. That's the relationship I want. Then afterward, Moses would return to the camp. Afterward, Moses would leave. Moses would walk out. God said we're done, or Moses would say we're done. I think God would probably say we're done, right? Moses would probably want to stay there forever. God says, we're done. It's time to go. Take my message back to the Israelites. Go tell them something. They've been bowing down on their face long enough. It's been an hour, whatever it's been, you go. But look at this. But the young man who assisted him, Joshua, son of Nun, would remain behind in the tent of meeting. That means that Joshua was there the whole time. That means that Moses shared this intimate friendship with God with Joshua. It not only means that he shared the friendship, Joshua got more. Whoa, guys. This has to blow your mind. Joshua got more. As mentors, the challenges. As leaders, the challenges. As parents, as grandparents, as anybody who has people under them who look up to you, who are learning from you, or following you, whether it's an employee or a child or whatever it might be. The question is, are you setting them up in situations where they get more than you get? Because so often, I think, as leaders and mentors, we say, I worked so hard for this. Moses could have said, God, I went through a lot more than Joshua's ever been through, to get here. I had to have the burning bush. I had to go through the 10 plagues. I had to stand before Pharaoh. I had to put up with all these people as they whined and complained. I had to part the Red Sea. I had to do all this stuff. Joshua hadn't really earned it yet, has he, to come in here with us? And not only to come in here with us, but he gets to stay longer. That's like when you're the star on the basketball team and like the group practice, the team practice is over, but the coach says, man, I see something in Johnny. Johnny could be Michael Jordan one day. So Johnny, you stay behind. We're going to do extra drills because you're so awesome. I mean, Moses allowed Joshua more, not just allowed it. I think he wanted it. Now, and how do I know he wanted it? Let's look in Numbers chapter 11. Now you could read verse 16 through 30. We're not going to read that much, but the story is that God said, Moses, set apart 70 people for me to anoint them, to put some of my spirit. In verse 17, it says, I'm going to take some of the spirit that is upon you, and I'm going to put that spirit upon them also. Okay, so no, we can't be controlling. We can't be possessive, right? We can't say, well, God, am I not doing a good, we can't get insecure either. Am I not doing a good enough job? I mean, why do we need 70 more? And we can't be, well, I mean, can we have 70 people, but they don't get as much as I get? Something like that. We're always protecting the thing that makes us feel secure and stable. But the key is, only God can make us feel secure and stable, and whatever he wants to do is the right thing to do. But we're not doing that a lot of the time. We're protecting the things that we think that we see around us, our power, our position, our money, our role, our things, whatever it might be. And so then it says that 2 of those 70 people who were supposed to come and get some of the Spirit, and then they were going to prophesy. Once the Spirit came upon them, they prophesied. 2 of those guys apparently didn't get the message, and they stayed behind in the camp around the people. And this is in verse 26, and their names are Eldad and Medad, and they stayed behind the camp. And it says that the Spirit rested upon them as well. So they prophesied there in the camp in front of the people. Now that's a big deal because only Moses has been the only one up to now, like ever since Egypt, to take God's message to the people, to prophesy. Right? For God to use somebody to speak to the people, it's only been Moses. That's his role. That's his position. He owns that, it seems like, right? So they prophesied because they just didn't get the message and go to wherever everybody else went, the 70, right? They stayed in the camp. They prophesied. A young man ran from the camp and reported to Moses, oh no, Eldad and Medad are prophesying in the camp. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Joshua, here we go, the mentee Joshua, who had been Moses' assistant since his youth, protested. He protested. Moses, my master, make them stop. Moses says, are you jealous for my sake? Moses essentially says, Joshua, it sounds like what you're saying is I need to protect my position and my role. Don't be jealous for me. Moses says, I wish that all the Lord's people were prophets and that the Lord would put his spirit upon them all. Moses' desire is that God would speak to everybody. Moses desires that God would meet face to face with everybody. He'd be friends with everybody, that everybody could prophesy. I wish we all felt that way as leaders. I wish we all would mentor that way as mentors. I just don't see it. I see us protecting number one. We try to help. We try to give, some good course of action, some good tools, some good 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps, that are to success, whatever it might be. But we don't go out of our way, and we don't yearn in our heart too often. We don't yearn in our heart and go out of our way and do everything in our power to not only make that person successful, but to make them more successful even than we've ever been. We say they've got to earn their way. And yes, people do have to work and learn the value of work. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is our heart so for the people that we're leading that we say, I want with everything in me for that person to succeed. And I am not in any way concerned about my role, my power, my control, what I've earned, what I've gone through, anything about me. And I am 100% focused on blessing them, raising them up, and helping them to walk in the fullness of everything God wants for them. And that's the question. In part 3, that is the question. The question is it about me or is it about them? Is it about me or is it about God? And Moses clearly demonstrates it's not about him, his role, his control, his power, his ego, his pride. It's all about the people of God and what is best for them and blessing them. And I hope that's true of us as mentors and leaders as well. All right, thanks. Talk to you again in part 4.